Ahlan wa sahlan. Right now we're going to talk about quadrilateral verbs, or as they're called in Arabic, al-fa'l al-ruba'i. You've heard a lot from me, potentially, about how most judhur in Arabic, most word roots have 3 letters, and those 3 letters have a core meaning, like kaf, ta, ba, which has a core meaning of to write, or del, ra, sin, which sort of means studying in its most intrinsic form, and we keep talking about 3. There are usually 3, almost always 3. However, there are also some verbs in Arabic that have 4-letter judhur. They're a very, very small proportion of the verbs and words that we tend to work with, but they're fun and they are happily very, very regular, and they give us a particularly interesting collection of words. One example with which you're probably familiar is the verb tarjama. If you hadn't thought hard about it, it might have been reasonable to assume that we have this ta at the beginning, and we know that form 5 has a ta at the beginning. But actually, tarjama is a word with a 4-letter judhur. Ta, ra, jim, mim. And we conjugate it slightly differently from the form 5 pattern. Form 5 in the present tense would be yatafa'al, and we would add that shadda, telling us, reinforcing the fact that it was form 5. But in the present tense, we would say yutarjim, and the masdar is at-tarjama. And we can use this verb, translate, tarjama, yutarjim, at-tarjama, as kind of a template for some other 4-letter roots. There are a couple of situations where we might expect to find 4-letter roots. One is that we get a lot of loan words that turn into 4-letter roots. The verb falsafa, if you said it out loud several times and thought about it, you might recognize or realize or infer that it meant to philosophize, to be a philosopher. Falsafa. So we can sort of hear where the consonants are coming from. So if we are going to philosophize, in the present tense, we would say yufalsif, following the same exact vowel pattern, and the masdar would be al-falsafa, which also just means philosophy in Arabic. That would be the normal word. Another situation, or another flavor of 4-letter root words in Arabic, is we get a lot of words that have a certain onomatopoeia, that sound like what they are trying to talk about. So there is a verb, we have a couple, but one verb meaning to whisper is waswasa. Waswasa, and of course in the present tense, following the pattern, would be yuwaswis, which sounds very much like whispering all by itself, or as the masdar, al-waswasa. A fun verb. Another thing that we can expect that sort of goes hand in hand with the loanwords aspect is that we get a lot of neologisms in the quadrilateral fa'al ruba'i category. If you have done some reading on political science, you might have heard of a word, balkanize, balkanization. That probably wasn't used much before the breakup of Yugoslavia. That means now in poli-sci parlance for a state to break up into smaller states. So, Arabic has adopted the term, which fits handily into the fa'al ruba'i pattern, balqana. يبلقن and the mastar al-balqana. Just a couple of examples of how this pattern works. And since al-fa'al al-ruba'i is known for accommodating neologisms, why don't you try it for yourself? Pick a favorite, very evocative, maybe onomatopoeic kind of word in English and see if you can narrow it down to 4 consonants and fit it into this pattern, and then give it a try one day in class and see if your instructor understands or can infer from the context what you mean. It'll be fun.